So could we start out the front with curb appeal and start, I guess, walking through this property?
Okay, so if we're starting at the front,
Yeah.
I would say curb appeal is one of the most underrated ways to add value. Straight out.
Okay.
Straight out. The biggest neglected part of a home's market value is in its street appeal.
I'm really surprised to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a reason why. Because yes, you've got to impress the valuer, but the valuer doesn't care about you. With all due respect, they go back to the human. What's the market going to pay for it?
Yep.
So they want to know who the market is. So then I start thinking like this. You're looking for a property.
Yep.
You're just not an investor, just a mum and dad. You're the husband, the wife's wife, and the husband and whatever. They, them, whatever. You're a human looking for property.
I think we've ticked all the boxes there.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and you're on the couch. When you scroll, what do you stop at? The pretty homes?
Well, if I'm looking for a renovator, the smelly looking ones, but you're right. If I'm looking to actually buy something
Majority
to live
of the
in,
market
exactly,
is, yes,
the pretty ones.
The pretty ones, right? So they always stop at the pretty ones, even though they're out of your budget. Oh, this looks nice. Yeah. Or if you want to renovate, you stop at the pretty ones to see what they've done, but you always stop at the pretty ones.
Okay.
So even though they're not going to buy your home, they still stop and look. So the idea is get your net out to as many people as you can because you're drawing the market in.
Change from a fishing rod to a net.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So landscaping is probably one of the cheapest and most underrated ways to add value. Straight out. Neat garden. You know, you get homes like, oh, it's kind of cute. Like a cute little garden. There's a nice little feeling and you walk in, right? And then you get homes where, I'll give you a huge example, lost count of how many house and land packages are valued out in the new estates.
Yep.
They spend all their money fixing their home and it's literally grass in the front and the backyard. That's it. Then you go into other homes and they spend money on a bit of landscaping, huge difference. All those homes are cookie cutter. And if I'm a buyer and I've got 6 open homes that day, and they're all relatively the same, and I come across the pretty home that looks nice front and back because the inside's pretty much the same. They're all the same.
Yep.
I'm going to go for that one straight out. So sometimes it's not that you're going to get a hell of a lot more, but you're going to increase your marketability and you're going to sell first. You're not going to sit on the market. You'll get a stronger price. You have more bargaining power.
And a valuer is taking this into consideration.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Because we always go to the market.
Yeah, okay.
What is the market going to pay for it? Why is it appealing to the market? Has it got market appeal?
So using that
is it marketability? Yeah.
Using the framework of what's going wrong, what's going right, it's not like people are doing the wrong thing with their front yard. They're not doing anything with their front yard and expecting the same valuation. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Just make it look presentable. Spend mulch, remulch it, replant it. They don't even need to be fancy plants. I don't know anything about plants. I wouldn't know if it's a $14 shrub from Bunnings or a $340 exotic plant from North Queensland they got shipped in. I couldn't care less. Honestly, I don't know.
Yuccas for free on Facebook Marketplace.
Correct.
Yeah.
So doing things, nice grass. It doesn't even need to be the most expensive buffalo. I don't care about that stuff. Just make it look good.
Okay.
And then it doesn't need to have a rendered front. You can paint a little bit, spend a little bit to tart it up a bit. Red brick homes are ugly. All of a sudden you spend a little bit of money fixing it up. Bada bing, bada boom, looks pretty.
So on that.
I'm stopping at this house on, Yeah.
Yep. Painting versus rendering. You don't really see a big...
Don't paint. Bag it.
Yeah.
Render's nice, but render can feel cold sometimes.
Yeah.
You feel a little bit like...
It's come down to the color choice.
Like if you're just rendering it, sometimes it can have no personality is what I'm trying to say. It just looks a bit cold.
Yep.
In that case, I would add good outside lighting. I would put a little bit of a contrast with the eaves or like a little around the window. I forgot the word. The
architraves.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Something, right? If it's a light color, put like higher shrubs or grass or the green against it. Paint the driveway. Change the color of the garage door. Just paint. It costs the exact same money, but completely different outcome.
So when you were saying before, don't paint the bricks, is that because you will look at that negatively, or it's just more of a render?
The buyer would see that as, oh, they just painted the bricks. It was a bit of a cheapskate.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, not always.
Yep.
Not always.
Just something to consider.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you saw a home, you're like, oh, they painted the brick, it might chip in a couple of years. Oh, I wish they'd rendered it. I would have rendered it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Render the front, paint the back. If you're going to do the whole thing, for instance.
Makes sense.
My home, when we built, I rendered the front smooth, made it look expensive, and then I bagged the rest of it. So I went half in between. So I gave it that Morocco finish. That's what I called it.
And that's something that I see all the time as well, when people just render the front but do nothing else. It always makes me think of like a mullet house.
Yes.
It's like the front's all like businessman and everything.
And then it's brick at the back.
And it's usually like yellow brick as well.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, then paint the brick. Or it just, sometimes it's like, oh, you went cheap with the house. What else did you go cheap with inside? Especially if you're in a slightly affluent area. It's fine for those, if they're all like that in those new house and land estate areas.
Because then your comps add up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I built a project home in South Sydney, and it's an area, the median house is like 2 to 3 mil, right? And I'm up against not very many project homes. They're all custom homes. If anybody knows Brighton Le Sands, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sans Souci, they're all like big homes. And I was like, okay, how do I make my home feel expensive by spending the least amount of money? Because it's not about the money you spend, it's how people feel in it. So I was like, I render the front. I can't afford to smooth render the whole thing, but I'll go the next best thing. And I didn't get a thin bag. I got like an expensive, thicker bag. So you can only just see, for me, it was more the texture rather than the look. So from a distance, it looks like the whole house is rendered. But when you're up front, you're like, oh, it's got a bagged finish. So if you take anything out of this session, it's you don't need to spend $1 million to make your home feel $1 million, yeah?
I've just written that down because I think that is absolutely a quote for you, Belinda. It's something I always say is pretty isn't profit, but I think this is a perfect one. It's not the money you spend, it's about how you feel in it.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And this is where I talk, if anybody does follow me on the socials, I'm a big believer, big advocate for do not overcapitalize. The more you pump into a home, the more you don't necessarily get back just because you've spent it. And I think I was telling you earlier, 18 years is a long time to see Sydney evolve and change, to see trends come and go, to see what was in. And I say to people, sounds so boring. And I know we, like millennials, get a lot of crap for this. We're so bland and vanilla and beige, but other millennials love bland, vanilla and beige, yeah? And you got to appeal to them. Don't impress your friends. Don't impress the agent or the valuer. You are impressing your potential buyer because they're the ones putting their hand in the pocket paying for your property.
I like that.
Yeah. So as much as you want to impress if you impress it's almost like you want your in-laws to like you, love their child, like treat their child well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or their dog.
Yeah.
Same thing.
My in-laws were Greek. Do you know how I got them to like me?
How?
I just ate a lot of food to the point where like, she eats a lot, this girl, huh? He's like, she's not really, but yeah. And then I stopped eating because I was like, I'm in. And they're like, you sick? You not feel well? I'm like, no, this is how much I normally eat. I was just trying to get you to like me. Now you like me, so I'm going to get back to the...
My mum always told me that. If you ever date a Greek girl and you marry her, like you don't just marry her, you marry the whole family.
Yeah, 100%. So think of that with the valuer. You want to impress the valuer. Impress the market, who the people are to come and pay for your property, because that's what they want to know what your property's worth.
All right. So if we've looked out front.
Yep.
Curb appeal is beautiful.
Yep.
Right. Haven't overcapitalized.
No.
We don't have like weeping willows that we've trucked in or anything crazy, but it's nice. It's thumb stopping.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we've gone for.
Yep.
We've just entered the front door. We're now looking in like first entrance. Let's say it's standard kind of like living area off to the left, that sort of thing. What are you looking for as a valuer? What are you seeing that you think, no, this is no good?
Yeah.
What's the fix?
With me personally, I can't talk for all. Actually, most valuers, I would know within 2 minutes if it's a good floor plan.
Okay.
The flow of sometimes you're like, I'm not really a big fan of your interior design choices, but the flow, the floor plan, I cannot stress this enough. It is the bones of the body. It is your immune system on a human, right? If you're fit and healthy, and you've got good genes and good DNA, you thank your mum, thank your dad. I'm healthy. I'm not like a sickly kid. Yeah, that's a weird analogy. Sorry if this is going weird.
Let's run with it.
Okay.
I'm following you.
So the home has good DNA, good bones.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what you do with it, because you can always do a quick reno as a new buyer. But there's so many homes and they're like, it's just a good home. I had good bones. I had a good feeling. I knew I could change it later, but I wanted it because it felt good.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say bad floor plan?
Pokey, just small. People say, if I add 4 bedrooms, am I adding value? I'm like, well, for the sake of that 4th bedroom and the rest of the space doesn't flow, doesn't make any difference to the market value.
Okay.
So the floor plan is so, so, so important. But if we are walking in, it's I always say, if you're going to get a home and you're going to sell and you want to make profit, I know it sounds boring, white. Just paint everything white and bright. You can add color through furnishings, through artwork, through light fittings. It doesn't matter. I know it's boring. Everyone's like, oh, it's so boring. Well, if that's what the market wants, give the market, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So it's not that the game wants you to be white, everything, because that's what gives you market appeal. So I say this way, whatever's least offensive.
I'm just looking around the hotel room that we're in right now, and it is like a very light grey and white everywhere.
Yeah, you may not like it, you may not love it, but you don't hate it.
I always thought one of the cheapest ways to pick colours is to go to new estates, not because you want to buy in a house and land package estate, but because developers will invest so much money into the design of things. I'm interested to see if you agree with this. Look at what your target market is and then go into one of those homes. So if your target market is a first home buyers, you're doing a 3 and 2, whatever it is, have a look at what they've done as far as their colours are concerned. And most of
today, for today, I would say push the envelope a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're flipping or if you're going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
But what people forget is that home, if you're a long-term investor, that you don't want to be spending money on capital, on capital expenditure on your home. You want to set and forget. You want to buy it, you want to renovate it, you want a happy tenant, and you want them to pay happy rent, you want to pay your happy mortgage, everything's happy. Set and forget, play equity as you go. You don't want to be constantly upping it. And the best way to do that is to just have a home for a tenant that's just going to stand the test of time, right? In 10 years' time, the homes that I go in, and then we have to ask this question, so when did you last renovate? Oh, and then look to the partner, babe, when did we renovate? Was that 5, 10? Oh, well, Jake's 8, and then we bought the dog 2 years ago.
I feel like I'm there.
Yeah. It's 12 years. Yeah, well, we went to Europe that year, remember? 12 years ago. And then sorry, again, I swear. And then you this is not bad. 12 years. And then you kind of take note. What have they done that's made it last 10 years, 12 years, and does not feel dated at all? Versus the homes that you're like you, my best Paris Hilton voice. Oh my God, that's so 5 years ago. Yeah?
Yeah.
So think Grace Kelly, less Paris Hilton.
Okay.
She's so hot right now.
Yep.
But in 5 years' time, she's not hot.
I think of Hansel when you say that.
Yeah. Whatever comes to mind. Grace Kelly, she might look dated if you wear her clothes, but she'll still look classy and elegant.
I want to put you on the spot to tell me if I'm right or wrong with this then, because all of the properties I've renovated, white kitchen, generally gloss cupboards, wood bench tops, standard.
Yeah.
I still think I walk back there now and go, just looks like a nice kitchen. Whereas if I go a black kitchen, I know at the start of 2020, black kitchens, they were hot. Now it's hot. I don't know. And it's going to cost a lot to replace that.
Yeah.
Am I, in your opinion, picking the most time-tested style, or should I be adjusting that?
If you're a long-term investor, just go with what's safe.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're flipping, push the envelope a bit. That's why the homes on the block are trends that are so hot right now, because they're flipping in the market right now.
Yep.
They're attracting the buyer right now. The house that won, she hit all the markers for what's in now.
But in 10 years' time.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, do me a favor, go back over the last 10 years and just see homes 10 years ago, the homes in the block, and see if any of them would you be able to literally pick it up and sell it in today's market. They would have dated like nothing else.
You probably wouldn't even need to go back 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. So as far as when you're walking in, you want a floor plan that doesn't feel pokey.
No.
So don't just go like adding a bedroom for the sake of adding a bedroom. Okay. You want a color scheme that is not loud and in your face or anything like, actually, it's not about loud. It's more so about super trendy and on point today. You want something that's a little bit more neutral. Unless you are flipping, then maybe push the envelope a little bit.
You know what I think dates the home the most and I don't like at all? And I don't know if I'm going to get shot for this. I hate tiles.
Where? Just at all?
In the home.
Like?
Tiles.
What do you put in the bathroom?
No. In lieu of floorboards or carpet.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because they date more than anything else and they're very hard to replace. A kitchen dates, yeah?
Yep.
But you can always redo the cabinets or redo the bench top. This kitchen in here, and you can't see, but it's creamy.
Yep.
It's not in right now. No. But if I was to keep the carcass and just replace the handles and replace the splashback and have a color stone that's a bit more complementary to the cabinets and change the handles, it's still going to look dated, but far more modern than it is. Very cheap reno, right? Floorboards, you can resand them, you can rip them up again and put new ones down if they're like a vinyl. Pretty inexpensive project. But tiles, they are like, oh my God, that tile was so in 10 years ago. The grout gets dirty, the style's out, and you got to jackhammer it up, you got to lay them. It's an expensive process. And buyers come in and they know that and they're like, oh, I hate the tile. No one really hates floorboards. Could have that yellowy color, but in the head they're like, oh, it's $3-4 grand. I'll sand this area, re-lacquer it, and it's good to go for another 10 years.
All right, so we've got a white kitchen. We've got floorboards.
Yeah.
No tiles.
Tell you why floorboards over tiles as well, less likely to offend. Yeah?
Yep.
Some people hate tiles, me included. I hate them. Not all tiles. There's an exception to the rule. But floorboards, you get less likely people to offend, to walk out going, oh, I don't like that.
Well, there's a classic look as well. Like my wife and I live in a 1920s bungalow in Adelaide. I think it's beautiful. I think it's been beautiful for 50 odd years. I think it's still going to be beautiful in 50 years. There is just sometimes a style that is like, this is always going to look nice. I feel like floorboards absolutely fall into that category.
Correct.
You're never going to be like, oh, that beautiful polished wooden floor, that's so 1990.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't work.
So I think build and renovate and add value. You got to remember it's about what I'm talking about here is about retaining value. Okay. Long term for you. But as a valuer, when I walk through, I don't think about retaining long-term value. I just value what's there. But what I'm trying to say is if I did a home that was renovated like a block house 5 years ago, it's going to feel dated for me because I go through it all different times. I go through 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. You're going to have to pull out equity, especially if you're an investor at different times. The value is going through. And what happens is when it's first renovated, it's at the peak, right? You've set the benchmark for market value. That's where you get those record sales.
Yep.
And then because it's such an expensive reno, you don't want to pull out that Carrara marble because it's so damn expensive and such a waste to chuck it out. So what you do is you just let it sit there in the property for ages and it's 20, 30 years old. And you're like, oh, I don't want to pull it out because it's so expensive. This is when you overcapitalize. But what it's done is just dated the home. And if you had pulled it out, that's why a lot of homes in the East, they'll pull out a 5-year-old. They don't care because they've got money and the market is able to absorb it back up. Right? So when you have these older homes that started off here, people then expect it to sit at the top market value for years and years and years to come because it's such a nice reno. But what happens is it dates very quickly. Even though your land's retained the value, the improvements have dropped down. Not because the valuer says so, but because the market perception of that style now is no longer desirable. There's no longer a demand for it. They may move on to pay that top dollar. They'll still pay a lot of money for it.
Yep.
But the difference between paying record price and what it's worth now, that devalue in the improvements has devalued your property.
So what I'm almost hearing there is, if you're okay with your valuations not stacking up later on in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, like when you're revaluing the portfolio, it almost might work in your favor to go more trendy with the market straight up, but you're going to pay for that later.
Do not hit every trend. Like at the moment, everything is like arch.
Yeah.
The best way to zhuzh up your property, the cheapest way to be able to change every 5 to 10 years, light fittings. Okay, because that's like a $2,000 exercise to $2,000 or $3,000. It's not going to break the bank. Handles on your kitchen appliances, your vanities, things like that. My home, we picked, because Project Builder, we picked everything 2006 years ago. Black taps were so hot right now.
Yep.
Now, if I was to do it again, I'd probably get like brushed gunmetal or brass, right? If I went and changed all the tapware in my home, might be a $4,000 exercise. Yeah, it's not going to break the bank. If I change all my light fittings, and it might be a $7,000 exercise.
And even less so for a lot of our listeners.
That makes a big difference.
They're talking about investment properties that are maybe $400,000, $500,000, $700,000. So you're not even spending $4,000 on the taps in a property like that.
No, I bought a $49 light in lieu of a $380 light because I went to the back section at Bunnings and they had the discount. And it was an X display. And I was like, how much is that? And she's like, let me have a look. And she looks it up. $49. I'm like, wrap it up. And the one that I wanted that was $380 was it was like a alabaster stone and it looked beautiful when the light was on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who am I impressing? And if the valuer comes through, it's not even going to be on. I'm doing it for me. So I don't really care. So I saved myself all that money. But if you're savvy and you know how to shop and look around and go on, discount websites and wait for sales and Freedom always have it's not a plug, I'm not sponsored by them, I'm just saying it. Bunnings, you go in the back section, there's always a discount. The biggest sale ever. Good, go, buy, stockade, keep them. When I had light fittings for $10 because I would buy it and I would hold it. Just got to be smart, and that was the best way to add value.
Our back shed is filled with blinds and outdoor blinds at the moment
100%.
From Bunnings sales. I'm 100% with you there, Bill.
Yeah, and that's how you add. It's like, for the girls or guys out there, it's the earrings that you put on the outfit that can make or break the being amazing or just nice.
On that point then, I actually pay for homes to get styled.
Yes.
When they're getting valued. I've been criticized for that. Some people have told me it's an absolute waste of money. I 100% believe in it. From a valuer's perspective, am I wasting my money or good idea?
Okay. This is a two-side of the coin answer.
Yep.
As a valuer, I would never, ever sell my home unless it's furnished.
Okay.
I don't even care if it's the back of whoop whoop. Presentation is key. Think about scrolling on the internet.
Yep.
I stop at the pretty homes. I want the market to come. I want to evoke emotion into my buyer, into the human, to pay more money than my home's worth. I want to put lipstick on a pig. I want to cover up all the floors with pretty couches, and I want them to fall in love with the couch. They're not buying the couch, but they like the couch. Okay?
Paints the picture of the life they can have.
And if you are any of my clients or anyone that listens to me, I tell them, do not look at the furniture. The furniture doesn't come with the house. Do not get sucked into that. Okay. Do not overpay because you like the furniture. Look beyond the furniture. Imagine, because that's what valuers do. When we walk into homes, we value at vacant possession. I've seen stunning homes that have the worst tenant furniture in it. Horrible. I've had people say, oh, the cleaner's not coming to Thursday. You can't see my house unless the cleaner's coming. I'm like, dude, we don't care. Like, your house could be flippity floppity, upside down, back to front. We don't care because it's vacant possession, right? So the amount of times we have come into a home so they could get finance to get their loan, furniture's being removed, warts and all, that's what you're buying.
What about the feeling you have though? Because surely the feeling you have changes. I know you're valuing at vacant possession.
We're brutal, man.
Yeah, you're not.
No,
Yeah.
we're professionally trained. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
right.
pretty.
So I might be wasting my money a bit.
No, because you're going to get the high value for the.
Well, I'm doing this on like rentals as well. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So then the renter's going to get emotion.
Well, yes,
and they're going to pay more.
I've seen returns on that as well.
Yes.
But okay, but you reckon the valuer's just going, mate, I'm looking past all this.
Okay. If it is dirty and nicks on the wall and unpresented well and the furniture, it may affect the value because it's all about the marketability. And when it's presented and it's clean, so if the valuer is coming, do clean your home, do present it like it is a display home, even though they're not going to care. It just means that it presents well, and yes, you may get a slightly more higher valuation.
Okay.
In terms of, we see that as high marketability. Please cut your grass. Please maintain your yard, because if your yard is a pigsty, it can trigger a risk rating to the bank.
Oh, let's talk about risk ratings.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like I need to put a quick pin in. I was about to start asking you more questions about kitchens and what people do right or wrong.
Okay, let's go real quick. Right in the kitchen, you know this whole triangle? You got to cook in the triangle. You got to have that's the biggest load of BS interior. I don't care if you're an interior designer watching this. It doesn't matter. There is no way someone is or isn't going to buy your home because it's got a perfect triangle.
Okay.
As long as it's functional, as long as it presents well, as long as it looks nice, and you've got a nice tap and you've got a nice cooktop, people don't sit there and go, now if I have to walk from the cooktop to the fridge to the sink, that's 5 extra steps that I need to take. Babe, I don't want the house. Let's go. I don't like it. Let's go.
Okay.
It's never going to happen.
How about storage then? Storage must come into it.
Yes. You know what I don't like happening at the moment?
What's that?
Butler's pantries in lieu of a big kitchen. So they have these little kitchens, and they're not very big, and they're just, project homes are doing this a lot, and I'm like, why? It's like huge home, and then they have a butler's pantry that's very disconnected to the house, full of storage, whole nother kitchen behind. The kitchen at the front's immaculate, and then the people are like, oh, we don't use the front kitchen. We just do everything here. And I got 3 kids, and I'm like, are you all huddled in here buttering your toast in the morning when you've got this big, beautiful kitchen at the front?
Why?
And it's not really that big. It's just small. So I think make sure that your main kitchen is the hero, and the butler's is accompanies or complements the main kitchen.
What's a cost-effective way to hero the kitchen?
Okay, we need to talk about stone at the moment. And
I've
never spoken about this. I'm breaking my silence. Exclusive. I had somebody ask me, it's a very great question. I'm going to do some social media on this, but you're hearing it first. You know how you got homes with asbestos? So if you have homes with asbestos and it's pretty obvious because of the age, the value will trigger risk rating. You know, I forget what it's called, vermiculite, or on the ceiling, the bubble. Yeah.
Popcorn ceiling is also known as. Yep.
They're very high chance of asbestos.
Yep.
We trigger that as a risk rating to the bank. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they're going to borrow less. It just means that anything that has an adverse market effect, the valuer tells the bank in the way of a risk rating. Anything, unless it's a supermodel home, a perfect, it will trigger a risk rating for some minor thing. Because the bank will know, I'm lending money to this home. I need to know. So this stone here, guaranteed it's got silica in it. Just given the age of it, when it was made, it wasn't an issue. Why would you not put silica in it? Yeah. So in the future, would I value this home less or trigger a risk rating because this home has silica in it? I think no.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd trigger a risk rating with tiles, because almost all tiles have silica.
Yeah. So I don't think people need to panic or need to rip out bench tops in lieu of ones that don't. I don't think I don't think the bank are concerned about it. I don't think buyers are concerned about it. I don't think it's affecting the market value. So if you're worried about building a home today and you're getting the tail end of the last bit of stone that maybe has silica in it, do you change all your plans and redo all your design because of it? I think just go with what you've got, put it in, leave it. Don't break it, don't inhale it, don't chisel it away, just leave it. Just like you said, if I bought an older home, most homes, if they were built before a certain time, have some form of asbestos. Who cares? Just don't break it, don't inhale it. Same as your stone. I don't think it's an issue at all.
Okay.
But moving forward, obviously you don't buy it. New products are coming on the market. Porcelain bench tops is going to be huge.
That doesn't sound very resilient.
I've seen them and I love them. I didn't think I will. The only thing with them is I think the days of the thick bench tops may be gone.
I like them.
Yeah. I think
I've even seen your videos on them talking about like the extra value of the thicker bench top, and
they do. If you have the money, don't go. If you are going to do the thin 20 mil, it has to be a pretty hectic designed kitchen. Like the kitchen needs to be the hero, not the stone. But if you're doing a pretty basic kitchen, then make the stone the hero and just go a little bit thicker.
Okay, so going back to most cost-effective way to hero the kitchen, then what would that be? Or a couple, whatever's easier.
Stone is expensive. I don't like the stone. This is my personal choice. I'm not really going to affect the value. I just don't see it being a value add when people have a nice home, and I think to myself, okay, because anybody that's bought stone know it goes into like basic, ultra, then ultra, like it goes up in stages. The more natural it looks like a marble stone, you got stages. And I think if they bought, obviously not the basic one, but if they bought one step up in lieu of the most expensive one, so if they spent $8,000 versus $28,000, I think the market value would be exactly the same. Right. Okay. Yeah. As long as it's a nice stone. Yeah. It doesn't need to be, if it doesn't need it. Some homes have a pretty basic kitchen, but they'll spend a lot of money on like a pretty unique, like marble, like a real marble, and they make that the hero. It can look stunning.
What about for more entry-level kind of homes? Yeah,
no, don't, especially entry-level. Like I'm talking a homeowner. Obviously, I'm in Sydney.
Yep.
There's a lot of most homes sit at like 1.5, 2 to 3 mil here.
Yep.
If you're paying 3 to 4 mil for a home, you're going to want it a little bit special. But if I'm going and investing in an area and the median price is 600, 700, 800, I'm just putting a pretty durable, pretty nice looking basic stone.
Yeah, let's say you're like out at Campbelltown.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're not putting in $28,000 marble in the kitchen there.
No.
So for anyone that's got an investment property more so around that kind of level and they're wanting to hero the kitchen, if you're not putting in the marble, which I 100% echo what you're saying there, are there any other creative ways that you've seen people do things that you're like, that is clever and that looks amazing, but it wouldn't break the bank?
The splashback.
Yep.
So if you keep it all like neutral and handles on the kitchen.
Okay. So good handles, neutral, nice splashback.
Yep. Splashback and handles. You mentioned gloss. I don't like gloss.
Okay.
I feel like gloss is out.
So you go matte.
5 years. So I would go satin or matte.
Satin or matte. Okay.
Yeah, satin or matte. Anything that reflects light in kitchens, in bathrooms, it's gone, especially floor tiles. Do not, under any circumstances, I'm looking at you, I'm looking around at the camera. You said not to, but I am. Don't put gloss floor tiles, please. If you're going to put them, put nice like ones, but don't put gloss.
No gloss floor tiles.
And no gloss kitchen cabinets.
Just no gloss anything by the sounds of things right now. Okay.
You can put like tiles, maybe like a feature tile or something.
Like a splashback, you mean? Or
yeah, it's better for cleaning. But you can make a kitchen feel really cool and expensive from the splashback, and it's not something expensive that in 10 or 15 years' time you can just like chisel out, put new ones in, cost effective.
So you've got like a nice herringbone pattern or something along those lines, or
Subway. Like you think about subways, they're a bit out now, hey?
Yeah.
See what I mean about style? So if you had subways and you ripped it out and then you put hand cut tiles are really in now. They're like Subway. They're hand cut and they're all like as each one is slightly different color, slightly different.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It almost has a mosaic-y kind of feel, but not.
But in the kitchen and you got tenants and tenants aren't always as careful and then they splashing pasta sauce and it gets in the nooks and crevices. It's hard to clean. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, very much. Onto bathrooms. What are you seeing people doing wrong? What should they be doing instead?
Following too many trends in the one space. It's like, what are you doing?
How so?
Like terrazzo was in for a hot minute, and people do style because they think they have to do it, not because they want to do it or they think it looks nice. So terrazzo's in, subway's in, brass gold's in, rounds in, and you're like, whoa, there's a lot happening here. Tone it down.
Okay.
Bring it down. You don't necessarily have to go all white in a bathroom either. My bathroom's very, very dark, but I've got the one tile floor and ceiling. So I went quite bold in the colour and in the design, but I made sure it was all uniform. So if you are going to push the envelope with terrazzo and you like that look, maybe just go terrazzo on the floor and a little feature and just keep the rest pretty plain. Keep the tile the hero. Yeah. When there's a lot, as a valuer, we're like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. This looks very expensive. They could have spent half the money and got the same value. This is not adding value.
If we're in an entry-level bathroom again, one of my best mates is a tiler, and he says there's 3 levels of your tiling. He says the entry level he calls the POV pack, which is basically just a skirt of tiles around everywhere but the shower.
Yeah.
And then he says the next level is to do the same thing, but you're going up around like kind of 1.5. Then the third level is tiles to the ceiling. As a valuer, if you are, again, more entry level, so we're not in the $2 to $3 million range, are you actually really valuing that very differently, like tiles all the way to the ceiling versus his?
Yeah, for both, for overcapitalizing and undercapitalizing.
Okay.
I think unless it's a really, really entry-level home, don't do the minimum tiling, don't do the pop pack.
Okay. Under
any circumstance. I always say do everything. So if you've got your hand basin and you've got, you see, splashback tiles behind that because you might have a mirror. So say you go one tile above the hand basin, run that all the way around. So it's almost like 3/4 or
it's kind of your 1.5-ish,
yeah.
Yep.
And then if you want to make it special, you can put like a VJ board above that.
Yep.
And paint that.
For anyone that doesn't know what a VJ board is.
Shiplap, timber slat looking plywood thing that you put. I'm not a builder.
Okay.
I don't know. Just Google VJ board. If you're watching this, you got your phone out, just VJ board and see what comes up. Okay. I had a video and it's like, what I did to my home to make it feel expensive. I'm like, VJ board. VJ board. The whole video just dumb. Okay, I do cinema. So and then I've seen that light fittings either side of the window, a mirror. So you got your mirror.
Love that.
Yeah.
Or the light behind it, so it just has that soft glow coming out of it.
Yeah. The taps don't need to be the most expensive, but please don't get the cheapest. They leak, they rattle, they shake, they just peel, they chip. Spend a little bit on just for the durability. It pays long term. You can depreciate it.
I've always looked at tapware similar to I don't wear suits anymore. I'm very clearly not in a suit, but I used to wear like 3-piece suit, and I loved it.
You're an agent.
Exactly. But I found though that the thing was if you had a nice tie clip, nice shoes, it would actually make a lot of
socks?
Yeah.
Wait, were you an agent in Sydney with the loafers and the no socks?
No, in Adelaide. But I kind of do have the ankle socks now while we're on that.
It's all right.
But I feel that it's almost the tie clip equivalent or the nice shoes equivalent. Because if I had to put on my runners or like white shoes that I'm wearing now with that suit and not have a tie clip, not have the pocket square, it's the same thing as like putting in a crappy tap or then like just it's those little touches that can either elevate or de-elevate.
Yeah. It's like I get all the time, if I get $1 for every time I get asked, is this going to add value to my house? I'll just retire.
Yeah.
I should start a GoFundMe page. And then
it'd probably do well.
Yeah, I know. So GoFundMe, Belinda Botzolis, the valuer. What's $2, guys? What's $2? Just donate now.
Click on Patreon.
Can you include that or not? I don't know. Told you this media is going to get weird. So I would necessarily say that one thing is going to add value. It's like I always do it like this way. Mercedes-Benz, right?
Yep.
You've got the basic entry-level Merc, and then you've got the AMG. Yeah, you're not going to pay the AMG price just because they put an AMG badge and then they put sick LED lights throughout the front. They're like, oh, look, I can change the lights in my car. You got better suspension, you got better engines, faster. It might go from a V6 to a V8. It might have better leather, better stitching. It's not one thing in particular that changes it from, say, on the outside, pretty much looks the same. It's pretend.
Yep.
So for a lot of females, we don't know. We don't care. Yeah.
Okay.
But for the guys, they know, they care, and they see it. They pay the money not because of the badge. They pay because of
what's under the hood.
Yeah. Yep. You get more for the money. If anything, you probably get more for it, and that's where
it's more status as well.
Yeah, like you might remember when you were like in your late 20s. I don't know were you always in Adelaide?
Yes.
All right. I grew up with like a lot of my guy friends' car culture, and they would buy a pretty standard car. My brother had a Sylvia or an S2000, and he spec'd this thing up. Suspension, wheels. He probably bought the car for 20 at the time. Probably spent another 20 on it. Probably worth 30. Yeah?
Yep.
Right? But he wouldn't have got that 30 if he didn't do all these bits and pieces. That's like with a house. Like you can either overspend and you won't get the value back, or you buy a new car. This is a weird analogy, but it's not the one thing that's going to add the value. All the little things together, the better tapware, the nice lights, things that actually matter will add the value, not things that you can go and overspend like somebody like my brother or that generation with their cars and their souped up cars with fancy paint jobs and all that. They've overcapitalized. They spend 40 to make 30, but they didn't care. They're like, I just want the best.
Okay.
You got to be smart.
So look at everything in isolation that you're doing as a renovation or to add value, because obviously we're not selling here. This isn't, I know we've mentioned flipping a few times, but really the point of this is impressing the valuer.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at everying individually.
Less is more.
Yep. Okay. I
less is more, and quality doesn't need to be the best quality. It just needs to be
not the worst.
Not the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where you just got to be savvy with how you now have to visualize your property. And if you're watching this, I'm going to pick up a glass of water because I do this all the time. This glass, so visualize this, is your property. Think of a glass.
Okay.
It's no longer a glass. It's no longer your property. Think about the water I have in there as money. Yep. Your home is now a vessel for money. Every cent you put in is like a drop of water. You do not want to get to the top and then every drop you put is just going to spill out.
I feel like getting a jug right now and overfilling it, but I know
I have a video on one of my TikTok saying, this is how much value a kitchen adds. This is how much value a bathroom adds. And this is what happens when you overcapitalize and spend more money than the value of your home can hold.
That is a brilliant analogy.
Yeah. So no longer think of your property as something you spend money on. Think of it as something that you're putting money into, like a piggy bank. Because think about how hard. So an average worker works 5 days a week for 4 weeks to get a monthly paycheck of $5,000. Okay, let's just talk like that. How friggin' hard, how much did your boss have to ride your ass for that month for $5,000, and you're just going to blow $5,000 on a bench top that you could have bought for $3,000? Yeah, or you spend 15, you could have done it for 10. You worked a whole month for that $5,000. Think of it as money. Don't think of it as improvements. Everything goes back to the money. And if that money is not returning, then don't put it in your property.
Love it. Echo everything you're saying there, Belinda. I think this is brilliant. If we're having a look out the back now, so we're getting towards the end of things, what do you see most commonly that people are doing wrong? What should they be doing instead? Disconnect
between the inside and the outside. If you're listening to this in Perth, in Hobart, in Queensland, in Sydney, we are Australians. We love entertaining outside. And I think more so since lockdown, where people were forced to stay at home, your extension from the house, your entertaining area, is a whole new room of your house. It's a whole way to introduce a new room or make your home feel bigger. That connect. So the connection between kitchen, living, dining, that's what everyone wants right now. Kitchen, living, dining, Alfresco, bingo. All of a sudden, you've maximized your market appeal. That's how you encapsulate your market.
So in terms of what people are doing wrong, they're basically not putting those three together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So connecting the three, or they'll have older homes and they've renovated it, or they're selling it, and then you got to go through the laundry, because older homes got to go kind of through the laundry, or there's a door, there's a little platform and then there's stairs and then there's the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Connect the backyard, the alfresco and the house together, and then you have definitely added the value.
So if someone does have, like, because I've got an old government home, you have to go through laundry to get out the back. And I remember playing around with the idea of putting another door in just so you could go straight outside.
Yeah.
But for the value at the time, it didn't actually make sense. But if you're looking at comp sales, would you actually, like, so you would take that into consideration that this is a laundry exit versus this other one with a better value?
Well, if I was apples and apples and they were pretty much the same, and the house with the extension at the back had a pretty strong sale compared to other comparables and your one didn't, I'd put that as my superior sale in my report.
Okay.
So if that was at $750 as a superior with an alfresco, because I feel that has greater market appeal than yours. And I always go back, if these two on the market at the same time selling on the same day, would they get the same price? No, this home probably will because it's a slightly higher market appeal. This one won't maybe get, so that might get $780. Yours might be valued at $750 or $770. I don't see it as $100,000 in market value unless it's incredible. Yeah. But if it had it over not having it, it won't be worth as much.
Okay.
So you always come back to comparing. So it's almost like a checklist. This has that has that doesn't have that, but this has that. That's how a values brain works. It's constantly like the for and against list. Yeah. And then the similarities. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Yeah. There's more yeses than no's. It's superior. Okay. There's more no's than yeses, inferior. So I like to value with always a ceiling and always a floor. And then I work out where it is. As long as I have Your Honour, superior, Your Honour, it's inferior. Where I work in there is where the valuers can really be at the other end of the spectrum because it's where they feel your property sits.
It's funny hearing you say that. Someone told me the other day, if you ever want to understand if what you're doing is like maybe pushing the boundaries or a little bit dodgy, start your explanation with the word Your Honour. Yeah. And it's a good little test to be like, yeah, okay, could I actually explain this in front of a judge with a straight face and know that I'm right? But I hear what you're saying though. That's very much off topic. So as far as pergolas are concerned, I can see people spending a lot on those, but you can also go the other way and just like chuck up a shade sale for a couple of grand. As far as the comparison, do you actually go to the length of like this area is like a pergola with 28 square meters versus this one's only 16 square meters? Or do you just see pergola?
So it's all relative and in comparison to that space. I've seen some pergolas that are far too big for the area, eating to the backyard. And I'm like, they could have done with half of that.
Yeah, and saved a lot of money.
But the owner spent a lot of money on that and they put a lot of value on that because it meant a lot to them. They're a big Greek Italian family and they have, they're a blended family and they have a lot of kids between them and then they all entertain outside. So we need 28 square meters. But the market and every other house around can really get away with 16.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean that because they've got 28, they're worth more than your 16. Marginally more, yeah, because it's like bigger is better.
Yep.
But if you're eating into the backyard space or it's not practical or it's like colorbond roof and it's ugly versus a nice timber pergola at 16, again, what looks pretty, what's functional, what works, it works. I don't need the AMG. I'm happy with the entry level.
I like it. Yeah. This feels like it's all coming back to just know your comps as well as a valuer does, like just completely understand them back to front.
Yeah. And if you can disconnect from numbers and try and go down to the human. So for the tenant too, like, are you spending money and it's not really going to get you $10 more a week rent? Don't do it. You have a responsibility as a landlord to provide a good, clean, safe. Don't be a slumlord. Yeah, slumlord. Thank you. Be a good, decent human being. Provide a good, decent home to your tenant that they're going to feel safe in. And if they're not going to spend more for something, don't put it in. Don't put it in. If you're doing this for yourself, it's a different conversation because then we get the emotion that plays into it and say, but I love that stone, Belinda, the valuer. I want a 28. Well, then do it.
But do it for you.
Do it for you.
Yeah. Just don't be shocked when the valuation.
But just remember you had to work 3 months with your boss riding your backside and, late nights and complaining, I'm so tired, for that stone, because it's money. Is it worth it? Like, would you have rather gone on a holiday with that money? Like, break it always down to the money, not I want it and it looks nice.
I can't remember who it was, but there was a team, the yacht race, I think it was like the Sydney to Hobart, something along those lines. And the question the team always asked themselves when they were getting the boat ready was, does it make the ship go faster, or does it make the boat go faster?
100%.
And I feel like that is so applicable here is, does this add value?
Yep.
If it doesn't, why are you doing it?
Yep.
Like, unless, like you said, you just love the stone and that's the favorite thing you want to put in, but then recognize you're doing it for you.
Yeah. When I built my home, I wanted dark timber herringbone floors before I wanted the house.
That would look good.
Yeah, it does. It looks sick. And I wanted a stone fireplace. But both those things add value because I did it in a way that I was like, add value and look sick. And I love it. Yeah?
Yeah. Love it. Cool. Well, for an action step, for anyone that's been listening thinking, I like this, I'm wanting to add value to my home, I'm wanting to get a reval, I'm wanting to essentially impress the valuer, what's something that they can do right now? Pull out the headphones and just get to work on.
So when the valuer comes through, compliment them. I'm like, wow, you're amazing that you're a valuer. Like, how did you do not call them evaluators? Call them valuers.
Evaluators. Do you get that, do you?
Oh, mate. Mom, the evaluator's here. Hi, I'd like to talk to the evaluator, Belinda. She came and evaluated my home. And we're like, it's just like this thing that grinds our gears for no reason.
Okay, so do not say evaluator.
Do not call us evaluators.
Done.
Right. Tie up your dog. Please tie up your dog. We do get attacked.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That's a good
Huge one. We won't be too nice about it if we do get attacked. And we've got girls have stockings or a dress and the dog jumps up and like, oh, Bunny, don't do that. And we're all dirty and then we're like, oh, are you kidding me right now? Open all your blinds and your windows. Turn on all your lights. Make everything light and bright. I don't care if you shove it under your bed. Just make your home neat and tidy. Just make it presentable. It won't necessarily add value, but it'll just help with the talk to the valuer about what you want it valued. That's a big thing that hardly everyone ever did with me because they get intimidated. They're just like, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk to you about this.
Okay, this is good. Can we dig
they
into that a
ask
little?
us, what's it worth?
Yeah.
We are contractually obligated not to tell you by the bank because it's even though it's your home, your funds, your finances, we haven't engaged in a contractual agreement, you and I. The bank and I are contractually obligated together. Yeah? You are considered third party.
So, okay, let's say.
I'm employed by, even though you paid for it, I'm employed by the bank to do a valuation for them, for their purposes.
Yeah.
They own that report. They own that figure. They tell us, do not tell even though we know, we say, oh, we haven't done our analysis. We say some line like, we don't know, we haven't done our analysis. Sometimes we don't. We can't tell you the bank owned the report. But we don't say that because you're like, oh, I'm paying for this. This is my home. And they get a bit antsy. Yeah.
But if we flip that to this is what I'd like to achieve.
Correct.
Okay, so let's say this apartment here that we're in now is something I've just renovated.
I get this.
I want to get $1 million for this, Belinda. Where is that's how I start this?
Correct.
And then kind of go with, is that feasible?
No.
No? What do I say?
So most people are like, so what do you think?
Yep.
What do you think it's worth? Yeah. And that's where we get all, sorry, we can't tell you. We don't know. We need to go and analyze.
Okay.
We can't tell you. The banks don't want us to tell you. They don't want a copy. You're not allowed a copy. We can't give you a copy of the report either.
Yeah. So what should we be saying?
So I would say, okay, you can write this down. We'll just pause this. Go get a pen, get a paper, come back. So I know you're going to do your own analysis. I know you're going to do your own research when you get back to the office or your car or whatever you do. But I feel this property is worth $1 million. Now, there are 3 sales that I like you, please, if you don't mind considering. Sale 1, da-da-da-da-da. Sale 2, da-da-da-da-da. Sale 3. Now, the one I think that's most comparable to, again, always the evidence, always the data, the numbers, the facts. I feel that we're on level 53.
Yep.
There is a sale on 47. Now, it's the same size. It is east facing. We are south facing. That sold for $1,020,000. And I think if we all take, relatively apples with apples, comparability of the two, this is worth $1 million. I need $1 million for the loan to get through. The closer you can get to the $1 million, if you can justify it, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Versus, that's $1,070,000. This has got to be 1.2. Look, why? Because you just feel like it is that much over, like based off what? House down the road sold for 1.5. This has got to be 180. But based off what? Where's your ceiling sale? Where's your floor sale? Where are we in the middle?
What I'm really hearing from that is kind of twofold. One is appealing to the human side of like, hey, this is what I really need to get to make the sale come through, because you're still a person, but you're not just like saying, hey, can I just like take, this is what I need. You're backing it all up with data.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah. If you can't get to $1 million, I know that there are a lot of sales you can use. The closer you get to the $1 million, if you can justify it, it would really help me. I know you because you've got to remember that our hands are tied to the bank.
Yeah.
It's the bank's money lending you.
Your sentence has to start with your honor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. And sometimes I hate talking to people because they're the nicest people. I'm like, this is going to be so hard to not justify that because they're so nice. But there's no way their home's worth $3 million.
Yeah.
I don't care how nice they are. And then I feel bad because we've just struck up this lovely conversation and they got kids, I got kids, and they got a dog and I want to buy a dog, and they went there on a holiday and you see photo. Yeah. And then you're like, I shouldn't have spoke to them. I always do this. Now I feel bad, but I don't. I actually don't really care because I don't want to get sued from the bank.
So what I'm hearing is it comes into play, but it's still overridden with logic.
Correct. Always.
Okay.
Always. Versus an agent can say, look, let's dress it up, let's clean it up, let's paint it, let's push it as hard as we can and try and get 2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of non-committal language.
There's always like, we haven't seen a 2 million, but I don't see why yours can't be the first. Yeah.
You've heard that a few times before. Yeah.
The agent said, I'm like, well, would the agent like to put that in writing, sign it, and make it a legal document? Yeah. So I've been working on a few family law jobs. I've got to sign affidavits. These have got to be legal documents. I have to then, so anytime you need a valuation or to prove a value on your home, it's the valuer. It's never the agent. Valuer goes to court. It's the valuer's opinion. The government puts a highway through your land. It's the valuer's opinion. There's an easement. The neighbor's fence is 3 centimeters on your side. You want compensation. You don't get a letter from the agent. You get a valuation from the valuer. There's more to it than just what's it worth. We look at everything.
Arguably, we've arrived at the most important question.
Oh my God.
Now, forgive me if I pronounce your last name wrong. Belinda Botzolis?
Botzolis.
Botzolis?
Botzolis. It's not Italiano, it's Greek.
Belinda Botzolis, what is your favorite pizza?
Capricciosa.
Oh.
Lots of mushrooms, lots of onion, olives, mushroom, and ham.
There's no hesitation with you there.
No, like capricciosa. I used to work for a place and they made pizza, and the owner was going through some life. I was 18, 19. I couldn't care less. She's like, girls, you got it under control? I'll be back. And she wouldn't just leave us all night. And it was not very busy. Yeah. We'd make pizzas the whole time for ourselves and like iced coffees. And I'd always pack on the mushrooms, pack on the ham, pack on the cheese, and I loved it.
And so obviously you're not getting it at that pizza bar anymore.
No, they're closed.
Yeah. I wonder why.
She was a bit of like a butterfly. She would just come in and be like, I think she bought the restaurant as a hobby.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah. She had other things going on, and we were like these 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And she'd be like, okay, you guys good? I'm like, yeah. It's like, I'll see you later. And I was like, flutter off. And we're like, yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Is there anywhere that you and the family are going now to get a pizza, or are you more homemade capricciosa?
My kids don't like pizza.
Your kids don't like pizza?
Unless it's homemade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. I love a good pizza, though.
Okay.
So they'll be like, I don't like it. It's too hot. I don't like the sauce. And then what's this? And then they put the green stuff.
I thought every kid loved pizza.
No, not my kids.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Belinda, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Wait.
Oh, yeah?
Pizza ovens are really good for homes. Buyers love them.
Okay.
Guys love pizza ovens. If you're going to spend a lot of money on an outdoor hood cooker thing, make a beautiful outdoor pizza oven and like a conversation piece, because it's all about bringing people together. So you're sitting there together, you're making your own pizza, putting in, oh, your one's ready, it comes out. It's like it brings people together. It's really like hot right now. So I'd spend the money on a pizza oven before I spent it on a really fancy, cold-looking hood barbecue that looks boring from the 1980s from Harvey Norman.
Okay.
Like it looks like straight out of Tuscany, you know, with the brickwork and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of mosaic through it.
Yeah. And then you can eat your pizza and listen to the podcast.
It's all coming together. Belinda,
there you go.
This is going to be an episode I think people are going to hit rewind on so many times, because there's been so many little moments of gold that I think you've dropped in here.
Sorry, not sorry for those that have found it a bit wacky.
You do it with a lot of personality. And I think it's one of the things that has been a big appeal for me when I've been following you. And I think that other, whatever it is now, 500,000 people that follow you, you're wonderful at your job and you do it with flair.
I appreciate that.
Belinda, thank you so much for coming on the show.
And this has been a great interview. You've been wonderful as well. So thank you so much.